Good day, everybody. This is Michael from jurisq.com, and I'm with Kevin Attkisson, a personal injury attorney in Dayton, Ohio. Kevin, welcome back.
Hi, Michael. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much for being with us, for explaining to us last time on what happens if you are hurt as a passenger on a bus. And now let's pivot to the next topic. What happens if you are hurt by a bus? And please explain to us the different types of buses: school bus, Greyhound bus, private, public bus. What happens? How can you get compensation if you were hurt in a car accident involving a bus, or if you were pedestrian?
Sure. If you're a motorist or a pedestrian and you're struck by a bus, obviously buses are very, very large vehicles. They tend to do a lot of damage when they hit other vehicles, particularly if you're in a typical sedan or something like that. So first of all, we need to determine the kind of bus and who is the carrier. Is it the local transit authority? Is it a school bus? Is it an over-the-road bus like a Greyhound going on the interstate? We need to determine that because it will make a difference. Having said all that, in the state of Ohio, all these vehicles have to have some sort of, if not insurance coverage or self-insurance, they have to have some sort of coverage for liability when they cause accidents. So we need to get involved in these cases as soon as possible. One, again, they tend to cause serious collisions, but likewise, they tend to cause serious injuries as well. And so we need to get involved with these as soon as possible, start the investigation to find out what happened, who's at fault,
Right.
and get started soon and get our people start investigating these things so that we can properly represent somebody and make sure that they're fairly compensated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me ask you, we deal with attorneys in different states, and some states have very strict provisions on giving notice within a certain time frame to a public bus authority, something like that. In Ohio, what's the landscape on that?
Okay. So regardless of who is in charge of the bus, if it's a school bus, that's a governmental entity. Obviously, we want to notify them as soon as possible. Same thing with the RTA. It's a quasi-governmental agency, and they're handled just the same as a regular personal injury case, an auto accident case. But regardless of who it is, we want to notify them of the injury claim as soon as possible. So you contact us, we immediately reach out to whoever is in charge of this vehicle, be it a private bus company like Greyhound or something, or one of these public entities like the RTA or a school bus or something like that. We want to notify them as soon as possible. By the way, a lot of smaller school districts in the area have actual insurance policies. Now, a lot of them are what we call self-insured, or they're involved in what are called risk pools. That acts like insurance, but it's not your classic insurance policies. But regardless of what entity it is, we want to notify them of the injury and our claim for not only the injury, but maybe the vehicle damage claim as well, as soon as we possibly can. One thing, and that applies to all of them, be it the public entities and the private companies. But when it comes to these private companies, you also want to look into what was the purpose of this trip. If it's Greyhound and somebody's just going from point A to point B and it's just a transportation issue, that's one thing. A lot of these big buses that you see on the interstate, a lot of them are tour buses. Okay, that is, they're taking people somewhere for a specific reason. They're taking a group down south to maybe go gambling somewhere, and it's a particular. And so you have to look to see, okay, what was the purpose? This was a tour bus. What was the purpose? Is there a joint venture? And if there is, then maybe there could be multiple defendants. Because again, if it's an accident, if you're in a vehicle, okay, and you get hit by the bus, you're gonna probably suffer injuries and vehicle damage claim. But the people on the bus, they might suffer injury as well.
Right.
So there might be a lot of injury victims seeking compensation for this one accident. So we want to make sure that we know all of the players involved. Again, so if it's a tour bus, was there maybe a tour company in the background who might have additional insurance? So we need to make sure we investigate all of those things to make sure that we can fully access funds to compensate our client.
And Kevin, if that bus came from a different state, you can still file a claim or sue in the state of Ohio, correct?
Absolutely. When somebody is hurt in an accident on the road, you can file the lawsuit. That is, if you actually, generally we make a claim first, and if we have to litigate, we'll litigate at a later date. But when you do litigate, you file the claim in the jurisdiction where the accident occurred, or you can file it where the defendant resides or where the company is headquartered. But typically we file them in the county where the accident occurred.
Okay, so the two takeaways from today's session that I heard, main points. One is timeliness. You have to file your intention to file a claim to get the compensation as soon as possible. And the second is you have to start your investigation as soon as possible, right? To get all the facts, what happened, get the evidence, statements, footage. And that's why it's important to go to an attorney who knows how to do that, who is experienced in personal injury in the state of Ohio, who is an authority on that.
Absolutely. And I will add something to that. When these accidents happen, let's just take, for instance, a significant accident on the interstate by a large carrier. Their insurance company and investigators are out on the scene. If not the same day, the next day, they're on the scene investigating. So they get their people out there immediately. So if you're an injury victim, you need to get your attorney on board immediately so that we can get out to the scene and we can investigate and we can be in contact with the police and hit the ground running to make sure that we fully understand what happened.
Yeah, and one such attorney is Kevin Attkisson from Attkisson Law Firm. Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us, for your time. And I want to thank the public for watching these videos and getting educated on personal injury law in the state of Ohio. We're going to come back with many more sessions. Please stay tuned. Until next time. And by the way, I want to just reiterate, it's very important for you to know that the consultations are free. So if you have any questions on your case, on what happened to you, what are the possible ways you can get compensated for your damages, personal injury, car damage, lost wages, all that, please call the phone number on the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much.
Always happy to talk to people. Give me a call.
Thank you. Take care.